Man, you need to buy yourself a gun.
What?
Gun?
What?
Like a handgun. For personal protection. If somebody tries to mug you.
What?
What if your government tries to throw you in a can?
What?
You're gonna want a shotgun.
Oh.
What? An automatic rifle. And a lot of ammo.
Gun?
Yeah, gun.
We're all set to riot. Buy a gun before you lose your Second Amendment. Buy a gun. They'll burn you out like a Waco. They'll stick your ass in a camp. Jack for the cops in riot gear, gonna kick your ass and laugh. The revolution is on its way. Better lock and load your AK. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. We're all set to riot. Buy a gun before you lose your Second Amendment. Buy a gun. They gave no money to the banksters. They stole your pension funds. It's time that we took to the streets. It's time we had our turn. A revolution is on its way, and the founding fathers would say, buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Buy a gun, 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 buy a gun before you wish you bought a gun. Revolution's not clean and neat, you gotta riot in the streets. Revolution's not clean and neat, you gotta drag them through the streets.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Welcome to PrimerTime. My name is Michael. I'm here with Captain Gringo tonight, and I want to start off by saying a little special thanks to UCY.tv. Tonight we're being hosted by Wendy, and Jules has put in a little extra work for us tonight. Thanks for all the help. I don't know if Gringo's on yet. Best wishes to Dan and his mom. Dan's still out of commission, giving a hand, and he should be back next week. Yeah, I miss Dan on. It's not the same. So, lots of stuff happening in the firearms world this week. D.C. had overturned the ban on carrying of handguns in the city. That recently was decided by the Supreme Court, and it was overturned as unconstitutional to ban the handguns. And we're seeing that turns out to scare a lot of people. The same day that came out, the top cop in Boston was asked about how this could have an effect on his town, and he went into a pretty long tirade about how nobody needs to own a rifle or a shotgun in the city of Boston. And he wants to have personal discretion over who gets any sort of firearm in the city of Boston. And I think that should be a wake-up call for most people.
Agreed, 100%. Who's that guy? Hell, how they can defend themselves or not.
You know, need is one of those seriously overused and little thought about words. I mean, that's a fairly dangerous word. I mean, that's almost as dangerous as we, you know. The need is just a little overused, and I don't think it's used correctly. So how you been doing?
Oh, doing great. Went and helped my mom out and mowed her yard, and so got some good deeds done for the day. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing okay. I didn't get a chance to go out and shoot. I mean, I'm on doggy patrol. I'm about to have puppies, so I'm just keeping an eyeball on a pregnant lab for the last couple of days. I think she's probably going to. I don't think it'll be tonight. I think it'll probably be sometime in the next 2 days. She's pretty just sit around now, so yeah. And I think she's gonna have a bunch of them.
Well, good deal. Well, I tell you what, put me on the list for one, because looks like the family here in the Bayou sure needs a dog, and You know me, I love Labradors, man.
Oh man, I think she's good. I'm thinking she's gonna make some. She's a yellow lab that's almost white. She's got a hint of caramel along her edge, and she got it on 135 pounds. So hopefully, I'll have some good looking ones. If not, yeah, I'll probably end up with like half lab, half Chihuahua or something. That was my luck. Like, I can't wait to have one. I just want a girl puppy from this one because she's just such a good dog. Anything she makes has got to be a good dog. So,
well, I'm looking forward to it, little buddy. Looking forward to it a whole lot, man. Nothing like a puppy to liven things up around the house.
Yeah, I'm kind of nervous about it. I've never had puppies before, so I don't know if she's got a lot of nipples, so I think that's a sign. I think I'm going to have 47 of them things, 48 of them.
Well, back to what you was talking about just now about that police chief in Boston talking about how people didn't need guns. I saw that story myself, and it definitely caught my attention. You know, I just subscribe by the John Wayne theory. I'd rather have it, not need it, than need it, not have it.
Well, that's the same rationale they give you for car insurance, isn't it?
There you go.
And, you know, I mean, seriously, 3 months of car insurance will probably pay for a decent handgun for most people. And, you know, you don't have to pay a monthly premium on the handgun, you know, other than ammunition.
Yeah, that could be enough.
That's true. What's it looking up on your side? People may not be aware. We're not that far from each other. We're only about 100 miles from each other or so. What's the ammo situation look like for you?
I tell you, I haven't been in and looked at any in the last week or so, but I was in Academy a couple weeks ago, and there's still lots of ammo on the shelves in there. Of course, no .22 long rifle still. I believe they got it behind the counter, but it's looking better than it was 2 years ago. That's for damn sure.
Oh yeah. My Academy's fairly well stocked with ammo. Looks to be a little short on 9mm, the cheaper 9mm, and of course the 22 is still behind the shelf. 3 box, I think it's a 3 box. No, it's a 2 box limit now. So you know that's still coming, but you know I think we went over the numbers once before. You know, at 70 million gun owners in the United States, you got to reasonably suspect that half of them have a .22 long rifle of some sort. So that's 35 million of them. And everybody wants, you know, a brick of ammo at 500 rounds. Well, you know, that comes out to be like 17.5 billion rounds. And CCI can only make like 4 million a day. You know, Federal's production is less than that, and, you know, whatever comes in import-wise. So, I mean, it's going to take some time, but it is coming back, and just don't feed the gougers, and I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, roger that. Yeah, you know, and that's why I have people ask me all the time, man, should I buy some ammo? Well, if you have none, yeah, you need to buy some ammo. But if you got some put back, hold off for a little while. You know, don't just jump in there because, you know, it's there. If it's not a decent price, hold off. It just ain't no sense in it.
Exactly. It is coming back, and I would definitely say if you do happen to hit a gun show, try not to buy any ammo there just because I haven't seen a deal on it yet. Well,
I'll rely on your advice there, little buddy, and I probably wouldn't go to a gun show unless you were set up at one anyway, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm getting to the point where I almost don't even want to go to them anymore. They're just, they're not the same as they used to be. They're, I don't want to be a part of the scalper crowd, and that's not where I am, you know, morally as a person. And it's really hard to see some of the stuff going on. I just almost want to walk by people's tables and yell at them, but you know that doesn't do me any good. Yeah, I hear you. Hell, that last one I was at, that you were at there, and
seeing that guy walk by with those buckets of 22 shells. I forget what ridiculous price he had on them, but I think it was $200 or something like that.
Yeah, it was over $200. Yeah, 220 or something like that. It was.
He's like, good luck with that, man.
Yeah, but those are golden bullets. They're made out of gold.
Well, I like them, but I don't like them that damn much.
Yeah, no kidding. And to be honest with you, I've shot a fair amount of golden bullet, and it's a decent product from Remington. I have had failures with them, but it is a cheap bulk value pack ammo. You know what I mean? It comes in a bucket of 1,400. You know, the quality control is going to be a little off. I mean, really, I think the bucket of 1,400, I think, retails at Academy and Walmart will have it for about 65, 68. So that's less than 5 cents a round. You know, you're looking at 4.8 cents a round or something like that. That's pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's reasonable. But 10 cents a round's gouging, damn it.
Yeah. Well, and 20 cents a round is gouging, and 25 cents a round. But it's really not gouging because there's no national emergency, right? There's no. I think that's really the law of supply and demand at that point.
Well, that's true. That's true.
But it feels like gouging when you're buying it.
Yeah.
So, executive order down from the White House last week, which banned the import of items from the Kalashnikov concern, which is the fancy name for the Kalashnikov factory. And it also banned any import of products that the Kalashnikov concern has dealings with or financial holdings in, which also is Tula ammunition. So I think we've seen the end of the Sega rifles and Sega shotguns in the United States, and Tula ammunition may be along with that as well. And that's a shame because Tula was some pretty decent priced import ammo. It was usually always a steel cased, full metal jacketed bullet, and always very good, well priced. And I think that's banned as well. But that set off a buying frenzy of Russian AK-47s. Any other manufacturer is still up from the what we would consider reasonable but not outrageous, but the Russian ones have run through the roof.
How much did you see them go up by, Mike? You know, an AK, they go up $200 a piece, $400 a piece? How much did they rise at?
I would say that the Russian ones have definitely gone up at least 25% over the value. I know that the rifles, which took a little bit of doctoring to make it actually like an AK-47, and it maybe $100 worth of parts to do that, and maybe about an hour's worth of your time. Those went from about $500 to about $800, $550 to about $800, and the shotguns are out of sight. If you didn't have a shotgun before, you're not getting one unless you're putting up a firstborn child. Those are $2,000 items now.
Wow. Well, like I say, everybody needs to, all of these gun dealers need to kick a little bonus to Obama, I guess. Say thank you.
What? They telling you he's the #1 gun salesman for like 7 years running now. That's something that Beretta would love to have him on the staff. Beretta's getting ready to move all their manufacturing out of Maryland, and they're moving it to Tennessee. But interestingly enough, they were offered quite a lucrative series of tax breaks and incentives to relocate to West Virginia, which is a gun-friendly state. But the senator from West Virginia, Joe Manchin, was heavily involved with gun control bills, and many gun owners who were aware and active within the Second Amendment community recognized exactly what he did, which was giving in and the same strategy of appeasement. Well, Beretta cut him off, and they said, we're not moving to West Virginia because of your action, Senator Manchin. And he's been on the defensive for the last couple of days, really having to eat his words. And why Beretta didn't open up a factory there. That's a lot of jobs, you know.
Well, I hope his constituents thank him accordingly come November.
I think that may happen. I recently saw that, you know, it's kind of a funny thing, but Darth Vader was more respected than any congressman or senator that we have right now. So, I mean, that's 535 no votes right there. I think we have to just throw them all out.
Yeah, it'd be a damn good start.
I really think it's the only way. I mean, we're not going to get enough people to say that their hard drive crashed and they're unable to pay taxes, a la the IRS excuse. So I think we're rapidly running out of boxes. You know, what was it? There's the 4 boxes of liberty. You got the soap box, the ballot box, the jury box, and the cartridge box. And I think we're moving closer and closer to that bucket of bullets every day.
Yeah, I hate to say it. You know, it's just crazy, man. You look around and the things that are going on, it's just it's really crazy. It's hard to focus on any one thing even.
Maybe that's the plan, is to keep you very distracted, not give you the chance to focus on anything, hit you from all sides, you know, almost a sensory deprivation thing.
Agreed. I got a little story for you, Mike. Kind of a funny one pertaining to guns, since we're talking about guns and all. I came in this weekend. I had my neighbors in from Houston, and he had his in-laws in from Indiana. And I pulled in the driveway as normal, and I grabbed my pistol, tucked under my arm to come inside. And my neighbor called me over to introduce me to his father-in-law. Well, I just kept my pistol under my arm. I never thought about it. Walked right over there and said hi, shook his hand, and he looked at me and said, "You been out target shooting?" And I said, "No." You know, I couldn't figure out what he's talking about. And my neighbor looks at me and says, "He's from Indiana, Marcus. He doesn't know nothing about Texas." And no offense to anybody from Indiana.
Well, I'm seeing that with a lot of the people from the Rust Belt, and they are coming down to where it's nice and warm here. And I'll tell you, they've got completely different views on firearms than we do, and they're scared of them. And I think they've taken in enough of their propaganda. So,
yeah, you know, I guess that's what it is. Us being, I can speak for myself. I was raised around them, you know, so it's just second nature to me. I mean, it's nothing to fear. It's just another tool, you know, no different than a hammer. It was just interesting to see their reaction, you know, see the guy's reaction. It was kind of funny.
I have an interesting situation that happened to me a couple years ago. You know, my brother was overseas, and he's a collector, and he's a hunter and an active shooter. Well, you can ship a long gun through the United States mail person to person. There is the provision for that, provided you have a bunch of paperwork done. And since APOs, which is a military address, are considered United States soil, and they're serviced by the post office with everything that a regular United States citizen would have, he found out that this is legal. So we took care of everything. Wow, you there?
I'm here, bud.
All right, sorry about that. I just bumped everything. Well, he went and took care of all the paperwork, went and got everything straightened up, and I purchased the gun safe and the appropriate locks, or it wasn't a safe, it was a case, and the appropriate locks and all that, and prepared the rifles in the appropriate fashion. You know, you have to take the bolts out of them and ship those separately, and they have to be, basically you have to render the rifle as safe as possible. did all that, and I had all the paperwork, and I went up to the post office in the big city and walked right in there, and I said, I need to ship these rifles. And the lady who works at the counter said, oh, okay. And she actually said rifles. And I said, yes, ma'am, I'm shipping rifles. And she had me fill out a post office box application, which I thought was kind of interesting, but I started doing it. And then I knew I was going to be in a tight spot once I saw those 4 cops walk in. And so they proceeded to throw me to the ground and rifle through my pockets and then figure out what was going on. And about a half hour later, I was allowed to go, took my rifles home, massaged my shoulder, and decided I would not ever try that again without a little bit of backup or something. Turns out that the lady was from Illinois, and she had been in Texas for 2 days, or had been working in Texas for 2 days, and she was not used to that. And I don't know if she thought I was going to take these things out of the locked case and reassemble them and go crazy or what.
Wow.
But, yeah, that wasn't fun. So I got cuffed and stuffed, and they searched my car and did all kinds of stuff while I was being handcuffed and searched and all that, and ended up shipping them about a week later after my brother made several phone calls and arranged for like a personal meeting with a postmaster at a different post office, and yeah, that was interesting. It was a learning experience, that's for sure.
Hey, Ham, Mike, maybe next time don't wear your turban in there when you go to ship rifles.
I was wearing my passion, my fashion statement from the north of Afghanistan. Yeah, it was. It's crazy, you know. I mean, I don't dress like a gang member or anything like that. I mean, I dress like an old guy who shops at Academy, and fishing shirts and shorts, and yeah, I figured out my shoulders can't really move in that direction that the handcuffs require your shoulders to move anymore. So yeah, so that was less than fun, but we ended up actually shipping the rifles about a week later at a different post office, but it was constant telephone communication between me, him, and the postmaster, and like I had to be there at an exact certain time, and kind of like a little funny to this whole thing was, so we have this all arranged, and I walk in to the new post office, and sure enough, there's two highway patrol officers standing in there. So nothing bad happened on that one, but yeah, that was kind of interesting. But it can be done, so check with your regulations. It's all there. Appropriate forms have to be filled out, and it can be done.
Well, that's interesting. You know, I've got a buddy of mine that's an FFL, dealer, so if I had to ship one, I'd probably just take it to him and get him to ship it for me. Probably save a lot of BS.
That's probably the best way to do it. It's insured, and there's a record of where it goes, so that eliminates any kind of loss. Kind of interesting. When I did ship those rifles to my brother, he was able to track them the whole way using numbers, and they did have to go through Detroit. And this was in an aluminum case that I bought and packed the rifles in, and they had four lock points on it. And he got them, and 2 of the lock points had been busted off, and it looked like they had tried to open it and take them.
Wow. Good old TSA at work, bud. You gotta like it.
I think it was the post office, man. I really do.
That's crazy.
We shipped each other's stuff back and forth while he was in Germany, and things got taken out of the packages he would send me. Some of the interesting things. He sent me some targets. They were just paper targets that had pretty realistic depictions of wild hogs on them, and those were taken from my package. A couple of German catalogs They were just gun catalogs, and they weren't even magazines. It was just a catalog, and those were taken out of my package. So, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think more of our stuff is watched than we have an idea. But I think we already all knew that.
Yeah. So I got one, Mike. I don't have the article pulled up in front of me on the computer right now, but I read about it earlier today. Said that from Afghanistan, there's over $648 million worth of weapons that are unaccounted for. The Department of Defense don't know what happened to them. I want to say it was, man, I don't want to quote wrong, but I forget how many thousands, hundreds of thousands of weapons that amounted to. Where do you think all them weapons ended up, Mike?
I would say that right now those weapons are probably in the hands of ISIS, ISIL, isometric, whatever they're called now. And I would say that a lot of them are probably in Syria. That's what I would bet.
I mean, I just don't get it. I mean, how do you just lose over $500 million worth of equipment? I mean, they just walked off? What the hell?
This isn't the first time this has happened, right? Because, I mean, we can all look back to September 10th of 2001 when Donald Rumsfeld gave that great speech that said that $3 trillion of Pentagon funds were unaccounted for, and they were about to get to the bottom of that the very next day, except for those planes hitting the buildings and all that.
Yeah, minor disturbance in the force.
Right. And this has happened before in that area, too, because in 2007 in Iraq, the United States was buying AK-47s, by the trainload. And actually, it also bought a bunch of Glocks, Glock 17s and 19s. And I'm serious, by the trainload full. And those went missing as well. But that just happened to coincide with the insurgency, the rise of the insurgency. So, I think
all a big coincidence, I'm sure.
Right. I just think it's nifty that the boogeyman just happens to find the right weapon to fight us with every time. So, I mean, I'd like to see the breakdown of what weapons went missing. And, but it appears that's what our government's good at. I mean, we give them to the bad guys everywhere.
Yep.
We got to, justify our existence and our dominance and our empire at some point. And, well, if the boogeyman can't fight you back, he's really not a boogeyman, right?
Yeah. You got to make them scary as possible.
I think that's really what it is. I think you got to make the boogeyman has to have some teeth. So, yeah, we're arming the bad guys once again. I think if people had an idea of what we were paying for it and what the long-term financing of this would turn out to be, I think they'd look at it a little bit different.
Yeah. That's what you shouldn't be able to go fight a war if you ain't got the money to go fight it. That's for damn sure.
Well, I've said for a while that I think we should have a war tax. We should have say a $10,000 per person per theater of war tax, and I bet you we'd put a big old stop to to aggression worldwide if we had to pay.
Yeah, there wouldn't be so many "We support our troops" posts on Facebook. I bet you.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm seeing it, and the almost jingoistic, flag-waving, blind patriotism is, I think, I'm fairly certain is it's like a fatal disease in this country. I really don't see a cure for it unless it's a big ass kicking. And I think that's what it's going to take.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think you're right, Mike. Anytime any bully you've ever seen in your life, the only thing that bully's going to understand is a sharp pop in the nose. You got to match force with force, man. That's I'm a realist, and that's what nature. That's the way nature works.
I think we got that shot in the nose coming up. It's either going to be financially, and I hope it's not militarily, because I got a brother in the military, and I hope he's not in the military much longer. But I don't see us being able to go and subjugate other lands and, pass out guns to the bad guys over there while we're trying to restrict firearms usage here at home.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. And same here. I definitely don't want to see any soldiers put in harm's way. There's enough of that going on as it is. And but unlike a lot of people, there's a lot of people that fear our military, and I myself, I don't fear our own military. I think there's enough good guys left in the military myself, but I know everybody doesn't hold that view.
I have a feeling that the military is being looked at as the police are being looked at. I had an interesting conversation, which is just totally kind of off the subject, but I guess a TV station is showing reruns of Adam 12. And people don't know, but Adam 12 was a TV show a lot of us were raised on. It was about two cops in Los Angeles, and it was fairly realistic for the time. And I just kind of thought it was funny that they put that on there, and I think it's going to backfire. I think people are going to see the difference between the police then and the police now.
Interesting.
I don't even think they ever said the word SWAT team on Adam 12.
Yeah, and if they did, it was something really serious. It wasn't just go kick somebody's door in and serve a search warrant.
I don't believe they said a chokehold on that show either. And I'm
probably
sure
lots of yes sir and yes ma'ams and no sir and no ma'ams too.
And I don't believe they shot any dogs on that show.
Probably not.
So I just think that coming back on is that's going to turn around and bite them in the ass. That's just not going to have the desired effect that the big propaganda box is looking to give. Got another interesting story. This is kind of a home defense situation. A guy in Los Angeles, 80-year-old man, had his home broken into the other night, and the homeowner was assaulted. He was injured. He's actually had a couple of surgical interventions after the assault, but he shot one of the people that had broke into his home, and the woman he shot had told him that she was pregnant before he shot her. And he related this story to KNBC, and it turned out that the woman was not pregnant, and it also turned out that these same people had broken into his house 2 times prior. And the outrage is now because he shot a potentially pregnant woman who was never pregnant in the first place. And there, a lot of media and a lot of people are calling this a horrific use of firearms, because he was no longer in jeopardy as they were leaving. I guess they had beat him up and taken enough of his stuff, so they were leaving, so the threat was over, right?
Man, I've been in that same situation myself. I've shot somebody breaking in my truck that was running off, and they weren't a threat to me anymore either. But the fact of the matter is, he had my stuff.
Yeah,
I'm sure the laws are a little different here than they are in California too.
Yeah, the laws are much different here. Speaking of which, Governor Jerry Brown in California signed in 2 more anti-gun bills again. The single-shot exemption for rifles is off the list, which was something that basically you could have a single shot AR-15 and buy it as a single shot, and then you could convert it back to where you could make it take a magazine and have a semi-automatic operation. Well, you can no longer do that in California, and there is now signature is mandatory on all ammunition, and there are no more repair kits for magazines in California. So step by step, California is falling to the dark side.
Makes you want to load up and move out to Cali, don't it, Mike?
I'm telling you, I don't want to make that drive again. Let's just say that.
I don't blame you, Mike. I don't blame you.
So I'm seeing not a whole lot of good news, but I'm seeing that if people with the right mindset stick together, I think at least hold on to gun rights for another generation and a half. After that, I don't know. We won't be here to figure it out, but
well, maybe we'll get it figured out for then, bud.
Let's hope so. Because I'd really like to see kids continue to shoot. I have a friend who he just picked up a bunch of Remington Speedmasters, which are old .22 rifles. They're pretty reliable semi-automatic .22, and they haven't made them in a while, just because the .22 rifle market is pretty volatile. And if you're not a Ruger 1022 or a Marlin Model 60, your model doesn't have much staying power. Well, anyways, he got 8 of these, and he's about to set up a shooting class for children, which I think is pretty neat. There's something called the Appleseed shoots. Are you familiar with those?
Yes, I am, and I'm really wanting me and my son to go shooting one. Just for the experience and just see where I measure up too.
Well, do you mind expounding on what an Appleseed shoot is? Just a little bit,
Well, from what I understand, first you get there and they do a big talk on the Second Amendment and the history of the on the Constitution. I understand. And then after that, you go out to the range, and it's a simulated marksmanship test for the military. So if you qualify, it'd be like getting your marksmanship badge in the military. That's the way I understand it.
Well, that's got to be a hell of a lot of fun for just a father and a son getting together and having a good weekend, and the education you get out of that is something that will last you for an entire life.
Oh, no doubt. And you don't have to have a 30 caliber weapon or a 223. Lots of guys just shoot it with a 1022. It's not a real long distance. I think some of they're mostly held, the ones I'm familiar with have been held on private ranches that have their own range set up. So not all of them are capable of having a 100 or 200 yard target, but they're all set up scale, and I forget what the yardage is, but it's something to definitely be interesting to do, and you might meet some interesting people too.
What's the cost at the classes you've been looking at?
Man, it's been a while since I've looked, Mike. I'd be just guessing, man.
I don't have a clue, but I can't imagine it being more than $100 for a weekend.
No, and like I say, lots of times they're on private ranches, and so you can go stay in a hotel room in town, or lots of them are allowing people to camp right there on the ranch. So it's just a nice little getaway. You might not want to do it in the end of July in Texas in the summertime, but
no, that
fall
July
time
and
adventure.
That July and August camping crap in Texas is I'll camp at a hotel. I'll camp in front of the AC.
Yeah. Hey, I just glanced at the chat, and I said simulated a while ago. What I meant is scaled, where the targets are scaled down to simulate the range being longer. I'm not using the correct terms there.
So you at a 50 yards, you'd be shooting at a target that would simulate a 200 yard target. So it'd probably be like 1/4 the size or something.
There you go. Like shooting silhouettes, where this might only be 20 yards, but that silhouette's only an inch tall,
Well, I'll tell you what. I went and last time I got to shoot, I've got a lever action 357, and it's a Marlin rifle, and I like the rifle, and I haven't had a chance to shoot it all that much. And I went with a friend of mine, and we went to our favorite spot, the dump, and it was a little overgrown, so it was harder to find the normal trash we shoot at. But we did find a good wad of used shotgun shells, and we started putting those on tree branches. And we started shooting at those. And I'll tell you what, I can hit red shotgun shells from about 30 yards. Green ones, I got to step up a little bit. And blue ones, I can't hit.
That's good practice, man. That's good practice. We do the same thing, you know, out in the field or out dove hunting. Lots of times we'll get some shells and set them up out there. And if the doves ain't flying good, you know, and pull out the 22s and have some fun.
Right. And you know, that's it gives you a little bit of confidence, because if I can hit the a red shotgun shell repeatedly at 30, 35, 40 yards, then I can definitely hit a man-sized target coming through the door.
Definitely.
Or the end of my yard or something like that, end of the driveway. That's really where I'm concerned about. You know, I'm a little bit older, so I'm not in the prime of life anymore. So I'm not necessarily going to want to be one of those guys out there on the front line. You know, if change happens in this nation, but I'll tell you what, change will not happen in my yard without my say so.
That's it. Yeah, I'm in the mid-40s too, but I'm going through that same thing. In the last year, my up-close eyesight has just gone to hell, and I know exactly what you mean there.
You know, I had LASIK surgery a few years ago, and if you're a candidate for it, I would suggest that you have it done by the same doctor that I had it done by. I've had nothing but luck with mine. Other people have had problems with it, but I did notice that after that, I shot a lot better, but I can't shoot with sunglasses on anymore. I have to basically have bare eyes to shoot. Sunglasses tend to make everything a little bit tough to see, which is something I didn't notice before, back when I was using prescription sunglasses.
Huh. Well, you know, dove hunting, that's a prime example. I've never been able to dove hunt worth a damn or shoot a shotgun worth a damn with sunglasses on either. But I can see where you're coming from on that too. And you think it wouldn't matter as much with a shotgun, but hitting them little boogers flying along at 40 miles an hour, you need all the help you can get.
Absolutely. That's something that's always bugged me just a tad, was people saying that you don't need to aim with a shotgun. And anybody who's been duck hunting, any kind of bird hunting, shot traps, skeet, anything that flies, you know you have to aim.
Dang right. Go out turkey hunting and don't aim and see what happens. You'll go home turkeyless.
Yeah. You'll go home with a bucket of McNuggets. But if you shop right, you can also get some barbecue sauce with those McNuggets. When you've gone duck hunting and dove hunting, do you have any kind of special concerns that you have somebody you haven't gone with before?
Oh, most certainly. You know, dove hunting especially, or any kind of hunting, but with dove hunting, you know, it's always a big group of people, and I usually put myself in charge and on the sprigging everybody out, because I don't want nobody to get hurt. And them new guys, I like to split them up. I like them to be with seasoned hunters that are watching over them. I don't want 3 new guys in one spot together. I want one new guy with 2 seasoned guys that I know gun safety.
Right. And you don't necessarily want to keep like 3 buddies together that don't know a damn thing.
No, not at all.
The idiocy multiplies in groups. You know, like exponentially multiplies.
Yep. And, you know, it's and speaking of dove hunting, you know, because that dove season will be coming up here pretty quick, I guess about another month and a half or so. You know, I'm sure you're familiar with the Mojo decoys. You know,
absolutely.
The spinning wings. Well, man, them things really work. They work great. And one thing go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You go right ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, one thing you really want to watch with those things that we found using them out in the field is they'll bring in those doves so low that, you really got to watch crossing across somebody, where you're shooting overhead and the muzzles are all pointed up. Well, heck, everybody's good and safe there, I mean, you're not going to swing over your buddy's head or anything, but when they're flying along waist level, that's a whole different ball game. On the follow through, right, you very well may muzzle cross somebody. So what we found, we'll put those things on not that little 6-inch or 8-inch stake they come with, but get a piece of PVC and put it in the ground and put it on the top of that PVC where it gets it up off the ground a little bit, and it gets them birds coming in a little bit higher where they're not so damn low.
That's pretty smart. I'll tell you what, I know that those things bring in ducks like nothing else. And when they go on sale at Academy, they're cleaned out. Any place they go on sale, they're cleaned out.
Oh, they work. I tell you what, they work so well, I'm surprised they haven't outlawed the damn things, because if you're the only guy out there that's got one in front of you and the doves are just barely flying, you'll get your limit before everybody else does. If you're any kind of shot, you'll have your limit before everybody else does.
Did you hear something about dove hunting was going to be restricted to single or double barrel shotguns this year?
No, I haven't seen anything about that.
I'd seen a couple things on a couple of hunting forums, but I haven't seen anything official yet.
Well, I imagine the shotgun shell manufacturer to have something to say about that, because I forget what it is. It's like 17 shells per bird on average, is shot. It's something crazy like that. When
wow.
People go dove hunting,
17 shells per bird.
Yeah, when people go dove hunting, they ain't going for the meat. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because like Dove Diablos or something, those are a bite and a half.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, we eat them all that we shoot, but you're just not going to drag home a bunch of meat and make it worth driving 200 miles to go shoot them.
Right. Well, they end up having almost a chickeny taste, as people would guess, but I find dove to be quite delicious. I like duck as well.
I'm not a big, well, I guess it depends on the breed of duck. Those Mexican whistlers, what we call them. I think they're foovless tree ducks or something like the name of them. But they recently took them off the list. They made them legal again. And to me, those are just like a big dove. But there's other ducks I've had that people have brought me or that we've shot. And, the ones that eat fish and live out in the bay, boy, they taste so nasty. I can't stand those.
Yeah, I would almost be like shooting a pelican or something. I would imagine a pelican tastes pretty foul as well.
Yeah, I'd have to be pretty hungry. Here, they're pretty good though. You put them in. Get you a brick, wrap it with them duck breasts, wrap that with bacon, put onion in there, and wrap it in full. Put it on the pit, and when it's done, you pull it out, throw the duck away, and eat the damn brick.
Yeah. Have you ever made mud potatoes? That's a kind of a interesting outdoorsy kind of cooking treat.
Sure haven't, Mike. Sure haven't. But I you just pack mud around it and put it in the coals.
That's it right there. And try not to use the mud that's got any kind of cow poop in it.
Pro tip.
Yeah, that's a life pro tip right there for you. Otherwise, it was fun. Hey, I want to touch a little bit on safety again, and I want to actually go over the 4 rules of gun safety, just because I find that to probably be the most important part of this show. Really, if you get one person to start following the rules, that's all I care about. But every firearm is loaded until you visually inspect and verify that it's not. So, go ahead and remove the magazine and open the action and make sure that it's not loaded, and that when you close the action, it won't load again. always keep in mind your muzzle direction. Recently, there was an open carry advocate in California in Phoenix, Arizona, who was arrested for sweeping somebody with the muzzle. He wasn't watching his direction, and he made some people feel scared, and he was actually arrested for it. So watch the muzzle direction. Keep in mind what your target is, and more importantly, what's behind your target, because we're not all 100% shots, and somebody's going to miss, and that bullet keeps on going. So be safe with that. And the most important is, ladies and gentlemen, keep that booger hook off the bank switch. Do not put that finger on the trigger until you are ready to fire. That's all I got to say on that. That's probably the most important stuff, though.
I'm with you, Mike. There's can't overemphasize gun safety too much, and it's something you just got to get in the habit of. If you're not familiar with guns, you're becoming familiar with guns. It's something you get in the habit of, and just be safe. You hear too many times about these accidents. I mean, I read one this week about a woman in Florida getting shot in the head. A guy showing his pistol to his friends that came over to his house, and there's just no excuse for that. I mean, I don't show my guns to many people when they come over, but if I do, the very first thing I do is open that action and make sure that gun is unloaded. I mean, that's usually the first thing I do when I pick a gun up, is check, see if it's loaded. Even though I know I put that thing there unloaded, I'll still open it up and check it again. I mean, there's just there's no excuse.
That's right. And, something that I've always noticed, and it's something that just kind of gets on my nerves a little bit, is the news, the media will always refer to it as the gun accidentally discharged. Well, no, there was no accident about it. It was negligence, because that gun does not discharge on its own. Nobody looked at it mean and it went off. Somebody had to pull the trigger. So
that's it. Guns don't get in bad moods. People do.
So I don't know. There's just so much going on out there, and I would encourage everybody who's out there, if you don't have one, become familiar with one. Get a friend who's got one, and go out and learn how to use it. Save up the money and buy yourself something of decent quality that you're comfortable with.
Oh, most certainly. Most certainly. Even if it's just a 22, guys, or hell, I know last time I was on with you guys, I was talking about pellet guns, air rifles. Don't underestimate the air rifle for training and just staying sharp on breathing and squeezing. I've shot them all my life, and that's one of the things I attribute to my marksmanship with any rifle I pick up, is all the time I've spent shooting a damn air rifle.
There's nothing to be ashamed about with an air rifle. It's not a kid's toy. It's just another tool. It's and quite a valuable tool, and quite an economical tool, and intensely satisfying as well.
Oh, heck yeah. Plucking clothespins off the clothesline in the backyard is great fun and great practice.
I remember the days of shooting dragonflies. That's when I was hot. I could zip dragonflies all day with the BB gun.
And nothing teaches Kentucky windage like shooting an air rifle.
That's true. That's very true. Most air rifles, they're very good training tools for that. Forgiving enough and flexible enough to where you got a lot of leeway in training.
Yeah, you ain't got to worry about the bullet traveling 1.5 miles and killing the neighbor's cow.
No. Matter of fact, there's a couple of nifty air rifles that are out there right now. I did see one that I'd like. It's a Benjamin break open, and it's a single pump, but you can change the barrel out on it, and you can shoot it in 177, 22, or 25 caliber. And I believe in 25 caliber, it moves at 900 feet per second, which is pretty much the same thing as a 25 ACP moves at.
Not bad. Be a squirrel getter.
Yeah, and I think it would provide a modicum of defense. It's better than a sharp stick and some harsh words.
Anyway, I didn't mean to sidetrack us on the air rifle thing, but I
think that's perfect.
Of it, man.
I think the air rifle subject is perfect, and it's something that you can get into for very little money. I mean, you can go to Walmart and for less than $50, you can walk out with a decent quality air rifle that's going to be good for training and a goodly supply of ammunition for it. And you probably still want to buy a 12-pack of Coke or something on the way out as well.
Yeah, if I understand, there's a new type of air rifle out now too. That the old kind you weren't supposed to leave them cocked. That you'd mess up the spring and they'd lose power over time. But these new ones, you can leave them cocked with no harm. I mean, not that you'd want to leave one cocked, but like when you're walking through the woods, I mean, you want to have that sucker loaded. You won't necessarily have to break it open and load it when you see something, Sir?
Do you know what that one is?
I sure don't. I just know it's some new technology that's out there that I saw last time I was looking at air rifles, and it's on the higher end ones. I mean, some of these air rifles now are $300 plus. It's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Some of those high-end Gammo air rifles I saw they were a little more than 300. Some of them were coming in at about 700, 750. But they're also shooting a 22. I think it was a 30 grain 22 caliber pellet at nearly 1,500 feet per second, which is. That's 22 long
22. Yeah, that's approaching 22 there.
Firmly at 22 long rifle speed. So, I think things are changing, and the advent of this new technology could really change a lot of things. Because if you can make it in a rifle, you can definitely make it in a pistol, and I think maybe that opens up for a repeating pistol market in air rifles or in air guns.
Sure. And remember this, anybody that's maybe not supposed to own a firearm, an air rifle isn't a firearm.
And it's nothing to turn your nose up at. I think black powder weapons are also not considered a firearm.
Really? Didn't know that. Interesting.
I believe that's why in the state of Texas you can actually carry those open as a handgun and not receive any trouble. But it does have to be, either cap and ball or black powder or something like that.
That'd make for an interesting headline.
Well, they have been used in so black powder weapons have been used in self-defense recently. And they have been effective. But, I guess at that point, anything's better than screaming really loud and throwing dishes or something.
Heck yeah.
So I want to say I really appreciate you coming on tonight. I appreciate everything that the network's done. If people out there, you got a couple bucks, do me a favor and throw it towards the station. UCY could use a little bit of help, a little bit of funding. Good radio every day. A lot of people putting their time out, and especially Jules putting her time out for us. So if you can, throw a couple bucks in. Hit the PayPal or something. I'd appreciate that. I'm going to throw in a little bit this week. I got to go and play around with the bank, and then after that, I'm going to throw some in.
Yep. Same here. Yep. Thanks to Jules and giving this platform out there. And also, I'd like to say, Dan, I hope your mom gets better. And sorry you couldn't be on tonight, bud, but I appreciate you having me on and glad to help out, man.
I think it's wonderful that you're on, man. You're one of the